This is Ron Costa, broadcasting live in the Mappable USA studios in Las Vegas. And folks, we're continuing our talk about opportunity zones and crowdfunding and all different ways that we're looking at people who are investing money into projects. And for that, let's bring on Vicky Hutchmala from the QOZ Marketplace. Vicky, how are you today?
Outstanding, Ron. Always outstanding. Nice and warm in Vegas. And today we have guests with the most unique Opportunity Zone Fund that we've talked to so far.
We've seen a lot of projects. We really have. We've been doing this podcast for quite some time, and I'm really excited to go forward with this one. So with that, let's introduce our guests. Folks, we have Todd Perlmutter and Seth Dunlap from the Omni Impact Opportunity Fund. They're the managers of that fund, and they're also the founding partners of HotBed Entertainment. Guys, how are you doing today?
Great.
We're doing great.
How you doing? Thanks.
Great. Oh, our pleasure. So we have a kind of a podcast party here because we're out in Vegas, and I believe Todd, you're out in New York, and
yep.
Seth, you're closer to the New Orleans area. So this is technology at its best, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
So anyway. We talk about opportunity zones all the time, and we came across you guys, and I really like what you guys are doing. So before we even get into this whole opportunity zone stuff, why don't you guys talk about your background and what is HotBed Entertainment, how you guys got together with this, and where you're going with this whole project.
I can give you a history of the project to sort of set things up. I worked at Blue Man Group for 19 years, and I have two partners, also former colleagues at Blue Man Group, and we came up with an entertainment concept, and we workshopped that concept. We got Jenny Willink on board, who was an executive producer at Blue Man and the vice president of creative development. And when we got her involved, we knew things were happening. My partner, Colin Llewellyn, came up with a great concept, basically just a new way to experience live music, a more intimate way to experience music, and sort of separating the audience from the stage. And we workshopped the project. We put it in front of audiences. It went really, really well, far better than our expectations, and we started our business plan and of looking for locations to put the project together. And that someone who was at the workshop actually was blown away by it and contacted Seth and Rosa. And the first location that we started to look at was a building that they owned in New Orleans. And after going through that process for a little bit, we came to understand about the Opportunity Zone program. And their building was in an opportunity zone, and other buildings that we were looking at in Philly and Denver were also in opportunity zones. So it turned out that it was an ideal program for our business. We have an opportunity zone location that, our thing was we didn't have to be on Main Street. We wanted to build out the space entirely from scratch and make it a destination-oriented business. We met Seth and Rosa, and they were, fantastic people. We had our morals and ethics together and aligned about what we wanted to do for the community. And after working with them for a while, we decided to start the Omni Impact Opportunity Fund to expand our business.
Yeah, that's excellent. Now the when you talk about the Blue Man Group, you're talking about. I mean, everyone knows about the show, especially here in Vegas. You guys are actually the ones that brought this to the forefront. I mean, without you guys, there would be no Blue Man Group show. Is that right?
In Vegas, you mean?
Yeah, in Vegas. Yeah.
Well, Blue Man Group. I started 2 years into the company at their second show. I worked there for 19 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, Blue Man. But I was the music director for the first Vegas show at the Luxor, and at that time it was a pretty interesting thing. Nobody thought that a theatrical show like that would work in Vegas, and it has now been almost 20 years in Vegas.
That's
I
huge.
remember going to see Blue Man Group when it first came out, and what was interesting to me was when I walked in to sit down, I saw a bunch of folks close to the stage, and they were all wearing like rain caps or something, and I thought, well, that's odd. I mean, why are just some people worried about the rain and nobody else is? Until the show got further along, and it was so exciting because the audience actually was part of the show, and it was an incredible concept. I loved it, and that was 18, 19 years ago when it first came. It was fabulous.
Yeah, those were the poncho seats. You get close to the stage, you might get wet. Yeah, and it was a great training ground for us, for me and my partners. It's because the Blue Man Group broke down the fourth wall and definitely involved the audience. And our new show takes that 10 steps further, and the audience is really a part of the show, and you experience the music. You sit on the stool with the piano player, and you have very intimate settings where you're very close to the performers and the musicians. So it's a little bit different, but Blue Man definitely assisted in us figuring out how to get audiences really excited.
Well, and especially in Vegas, where you can see anything you want to see something like that was so new for the entertainment world here, well, it was just great. And I guess obviously it led to bigger, better things for you. But there's an excitement that comes when the audience can feel that they're part of what they went to see. And whatever the entertainment might be, knowing that you're just even a little bit part of it, that's an excitement that you remember forever. That's what's
Absolutely.
unique about it.
Yeah, and sort of our goal. I mean, we can, I could tell you a little bit more about the show at some point, but the part of our goal was low tech, high impact. It's not a show with lots of special effects. It's a show where you're really close to the performers, and you get a kind of excitement that's different than just sitting in your seat.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that led to its success.
And now what's happening?
I don't think it's still. Is there still a Blue Man Group here in Vegas? I don't think there is anymore.
There is, yes. It's back at the Luxor, actually. It did a little tour.
Oh, at the Luxor again?
Yeah, it was at the Luxor, then the Venetian, and then the Monte Carlo, and now it's back at the Luxor.
Oh, okay.
Very nice. Very nice. So now what you guys are doing is you're bringing this entertainment concept to opportunity zones, which I've never heard of yet. So this is really a groundbreaking idea. Your fund then is going to incorporate an entertainment concept and a real estate component as well. Is that right?
Yeah, and this is Seth, and I can speak a little bit to that, and pick up on what Todd mentioned and how we all met. We met kind of in your typical landlord tenant scenario when we were working on the project down in New Orleans, and so we had a project, we had a concept that really existed before we decided to overlay it with the Opportunity Zone program. The reason why we decided to explore the Opportunity Zone fund structure is because, one, we thought we had a business that served the true intentions of the Opportunity Zone program, which is sustainable economic growth, building on communities that are already there, and offering some sort of long-term sustainable job creation and community. And so when we stepped back and we looked at it, we thought, hey, what are the best things about this program? What's the most investable parts of this program? And everyone gravitates towards the real estate first. But we have always thought that the Qualified Opportunity Zone business offers the most amount of open-ended growth opportunity, open-ended growth potential for investors. So, coming from, like Todd mentioned, all aligned ethically, morally, also with our intentions of community development and continuing to offer that infrastructure of development inside these opportunity zone communities, we felt like that all aligned. So we think we have something really unique that is, one, just a unique concept and a new way to experience live music and entertainment, but also what we're doing in these communities is that we're looking at very special and unique properties that will be able to house these venues, but we're going in and we're preserving the property first. A little bit on my background, my wife and I were in the corporate world. We lived in Chicago. We worked for firms in New York. I was on I worked for a number of different investment managers and money managers, and so really got a background in long-term investment, long-term perspective, and the opportunities that you can create by just having that long-term view, which aligns very specifically with the OZ program and the partnerships that we'll be taking on as investors. This is at least a 10-year relationship, but our background, my wife and I, both of our parents are historic preservationists, and so we grew up around families and communities that were interested in preserving, saving, and creating some sort of opportunity to reuse historic properties. So we've coupled kind of the historic preservation side of real estate with the open-ended growth side of a very unique entertainment concept, and we feel that together inside of a fund offers a unique investment opportunity to get us to our goal, which is continuing to support the long-term infrastructure, economic, and job creation in these communities that we serve.
This is why we love you guys, because your concept of opportunity zones is unique, and it comes from a different perspective of actually participating in the community where you're located more than just investing in the real estate and creating a project, and also because you're focused on the business aspect of opportunity zones, where a lot of the guests that we've had on our podcasts are more about the residential or the student living or that aspect, and so what you're doing is just so different and unique. I have to commend you for it.
Well, thank you, and it all, like I said, it all comes from, I think, our experience, but also our true passion, and this just happened to align perfectly. And they say timing is everything. Everyone has their expertise, and there's nothing wrong with, the projects that are doing the multifamilies or the student housing. What we're saying is that we have the ability to create jobs, one, on the real estate construction side when we're applying this preservation process and this adaptive reuse process to buildings that already exist. But those jobs go away after 2 or 3 years when the real estate project is done.
Exactly.
And then we're loading in a sustainable business with sustainable jobs that will be there long after, I think, the benefits of this program come to fruition. And so we think that we have the opportunity here, forgive me for using that word so many times, but we think we have the ability here to really build some infrastructure and lead by example of what the true benefits of this program are and what the qualified opportunity business can be in these communities. It doesn't have to go away with the real estate project. It can continue on further for, we hope, generations.
Oh, exactly, because that's the whole crux of the Opportunity Zone program, is not just to build a project and be done and earn income on your investment, but the crux is to sustain it after the fact and to actually impact the community where it is. It's impacting the community and raising the lives of the folks that live in that community where an opportunity zone business or fund is operating. That's it. You actually are at the crux of the whole program. That's fabulous.
Well, we appreciate that, and we felt that from the beginning. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's why I say I have to commend you for what you're doing, because it actually speaks to the whole crux of the program.
I think part of what's exciting for us in that same realm is that part of the jobs that we're giving are jobs for artists and musicians, and in communities we could take New Orleans as an example where there's just there's such high quality and musicians, and it's such a big part of the community and the culture there. But it's really hard to get a sustainable musician job. And
exactly.
I know this because I was a musician when I started at Blue Man, and I ended up with a career path that turned me into a producer and a creative director and an executive at that company. And that's hard to come by, and I think that we're going to be able to offer that same kind of opportunity to musicians and artists in these communities. And that's bringing like culture to these communities in a way that also is a great thing for an opportunity zone business to do.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Todd,
Well, in Vegas, of course, we're a little bit different from all other places because we're surrounded and full up with entertainers of a variety of different venues. They're everywhere. But in typical cities, it's not. And sometimes there's not culture, and sometimes it's not affordable, and sometimes it's just not there, and there's no emphasis on it. But you allow that to happen, and you bring that dually by maintaining historical properties as well as providing culture and entertainment to people that may not otherwise be subjected to it. That's, how many times do I have to tell you how wonderful you are?
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, Todd, also, is the reason why you picked New Orleans exactly that there's just a lot of musicians and artists in that area?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a combination of things. Our process for looking for locations, part of it was making sure that we could have a consistent and sustainable audience. And so all of the locations that we looked at were places that had, a building population as well as a decent amount of tourism, which of course New Orleans has, a lot of both things. And being able to tap into the musicians there means that show is practically a no-brainer. Our show relies on the musicians to deliver what's great about we set the framework, but it's the musicians that deliver the goosebumps and the experience that makes you excited and wants you to come, and makes you want to come again and again. And so obviously in New Orleans we'll have no problem casting that show with amazing musicians.
Yeah, well, you guys may not know this. Go on, Seth.
Sorry, I was going to say, I can tell you, when we first met Todd and Jenny and Colin and the team, the biggest attraction for us was the ability to build and help support that type of community, that type of infrastructure, that type of sustainability. And so for us living in New Orleans, we see the struggles. We have friends that are musicians, and we go see music all the time, and we see the types of work that they're doing. But we felt that this was a way to offer, maybe lead by an example, in that you can do both. You can build these long-term infrastructures in place in these cultural and music economies to where, folks that can use their God-given talent to build a career out of it, a lot like Todd did, starting, in his early days at Blue Man Group, working himself, as he mentioned, all the way up to the top. We hoped to be able to build that in New Orleans and show these musicians and help these musicians really do what their passion is, do what their talent is, but offering them, the opportunity for a living wage to support their families, and then that gets passed on through their families and the next generation and the next generation. And so that's where we feel that the sustainable element comes from. And it's not us, like Todd said, it's the musicians and the artists that will be a part of what we're building here, that will be the real, leaders of this program, and that will be carrying this on into the next generation. And so that's what was exciting for us from the beginning. And we just hope that we can apply that to other communities that we'll be able to serve through the Opportunity Zone program.
Yeah,
feels
definitely.
Good to change the world, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, again, it's a team effort, and it takes everyone that's going to be involved in this to do it and to make it sustainable. And so we're just out here trying to tell the story, to try to attract like minds, and also to try to attract investors that can help us get this off the ground, so we can actually bring these to the communities that we have identified.
Yeah. By the way, guys, you may not know this, but my karaoke career began and ended on the same night in New Orleans.
And we're all grateful for that, Ron.
Yes.
So do you guys work primarily out of New Orleans? Is that where your Omni Impact Fund is, or do you have projects in other locations as well?
So right now, I guess stepping back about 6 to 8 months, like I said, after we realized that this kind of aligned with the Opportunity Zone program, our whole team used our extensive network across the country, and we went out and we looked at multiple markets, and we probably looked at over 100 and 150 different Opportunity Zone properties. We narrowed it down to what we think are the most ideal properties and markets that fit the whole picture of what we're trying to accomplish here. And so right now we have 4 markets identified, and we're happy to tell you that, 2 of those are in Nevada. We're looking at Reno, Las Vegas. We have obviously the property and the project in New Orleans. That's the original and furthest along. And then we're also looking at Detroit. And then we'll have a corporate headquarters, creative headquarters that will serve all of those markets and continue to feed a creative pipeline back out to those markets as we go through over the next 15, 20 years.
Excellent. So tell us about the challenges that you encountered once you decided what you wanted to do, even once you decided your 4 locations. What were the challenges that came upon you?
Well, I think first off, the Opportunity Zone program is a new program for everyone. It's not just new to us in this project. Everyone is trying to navigate it, trying to figure out, how to use it to whatever their particular expertise. Like I said, we just have a varying degree of background to bring this type of product to the OZ space. But, as we found, it's a lot of educating. It's educating ourselves on how to structure this, ourselves on what the best way to make an impact in these communities are. But then it's also educating investors on why we think our structure with the real estate portfolio companies and the operating business together inside of a fund is unique. So I think, the biggest challenge for everyone is just educating. And it's because of podcasts like yourself and other folks that are out there really looking and having diverse conversations around this program and different ways to approach it. Every day people get a little more educated on this, and people get a little closer to where they feel that they can invest in this or they can participate in this. So I think we're all in this together. I mean, it's an educational process, but you have to first and foremost, I think, have conviction in your concept, conviction in your approach or your expertise. We felt we had that before the OZ program was even identified for this type of structure. So I think, coming from the right place, and being something unique is good, but it also takes another degree of education once you take it out to the marketplace.
Is each of the different areas, because they're all different that you're doing projects in, are you having more or less difficulties with the municipalities that your projects are located in?
Yeah, I mean, every environment, every market is different, and with anything new, again, back to that education, with anything new, you're going to have doubters. You're going to have people that say it can't be done or it shouldn't be done. And, just as long as you stick to your conviction and why you feel like it should be done, I think it just takes time, to educate people and to get people to see the benefit of to the community. But we've learned a lot through the process, and I think it's all been beneficial of how we approach each market individually and the characteristics of each local community, each local municipality, government, from the city to state level. And I think we've become pretty well versed in that. And at the end of the day, we've, just tried to be transparent, tell our story, and come from an honest place. And I think that starts to resonate very quickly. The more you're out there, the more you get in front of the people that will be directly impacted by this.
Well, and we know that here in Vegas, for example, that opportunity zones in the various municipalities within Las Vegas, they offer incentives. So folks like yourself who are coming in with a project, they have incentives to streamline the permitting process, the zoning process, incentives to help you if you partner with financial institutions, and tax incentives and that. And here in Las Vegas and its various municipalities, that's absolutely important that the community itself works specifically with the fund owners to make the whole process quicker, easier, and more streamlined. And I was just curious if that's what you're finding in New Orleans or in Detroit or, in other places as well. Or do you have to say, come on, let's be partners here?
Well, I can tell you from our initial experience in Las Vegas and the state of Nevada as a whole, it's a great model. It's a great business environment currently there in that state. And, I hope other states and other municipalities communicate with each other and what works and what doesn't. But I think that the state of Nevada and the city of Las Vegas are a little bit ahead of the game in being accommodating and understanding the impact that this program can have for projects and for long-term economic development and sustainability to their local communities. So I would commend just the state and the city in our initial interaction, because I think that they've thought hard and deep about it, and other cities are as well. But again, we're all being educated on this at the same time along with each other. So I just hope that the leaders that be are communicating with other states and other business environments in other states and showing what works and what doesn't. But just the environment, investable and economic environment in the state of Nevada is just a very great place to be doing projects like this.
So does that mean you're going to do a few more here in Vegas?
Well, we're gonna start by getting.
I know that was a loaded question. We can go past it.
But our idea, and Todd can speak to a little bit more of kind of the name. But our idea is, to lead by example, and we want to be a destination entertainment business, and so we want to attract not only people that want to see the product that we're putting out, but we also want to attract like-minded concepts to come and fill in around us and to complement us. And so, we hope that, by being in these cities or in these locations, that others will come, and we encourage them to come and build out around us. And I think that's what this program is designed to do is start with a single project, and hopefully it attracts like-minded individuals that are in it for the long term and that want to have an impact on the community they serve. And so we encourage that, and that's really the design of our program, is to bring everybody along or encourage everyone to join.
Yeah, so let's talk about this from an investor perspective for a second here. Your fund is set up as you have one fund, right? You're not doing this on a particular project level, right? The Omni fund encompasses all your different projects, both on the real estate and the business perspective. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So we have one fund. Inside of that fund, we have it separated, and we have it structured to where it will qualify for what we think is the most compelling benefit of the program is that elimination of capital gains on gains after 10 years. And so inside of the fund, we have the real estate portfolio companies. And then on the other side of that fund, inside the same fund, we have the qualified opportunity zone business. So the business pays rent to the real estate portfolio companies, and then they both pay, back up to the investor at the fund level.
And when the investor gets into the fund, he doesn't really have a choice like to say, well, you know what, I want to invest 60% into the real estate or 40% into the business. That's something that you guys internally do. They're just getting the investment money from the person who wants to defer their capital gains taxes. That's the way it sounds, right?
Right. So you're allocated equally throughout the entire fund, both the real estate and the QOZB.
Great. Okay, that makes sense. That's really good. Now your project that's in New Orleans, it's Fallen Saint. Is that the name of the show that you guys are promoting or developing?
That is, that's the show for New Orleans.
Okay, and now that show is the show that's going to be performed in a venue that you want to purchase within your fund as the real estate component of that. The show becomes the business perspective that generates revenue and provides jobs for the people around there. Correct?
The business is it's actually a broader business because there's a little bit of history of working at Blue Man. There's this amazing real estate, like let's say we'll take the New York one for instance, and it's being used 3 hours a day, and we thought that wasn't really a great use of the real estate and of the business. So our plan is to use the real estate at least 12 hours a day. So there's a restaurant, there's a cafe, there's a bar, and the show happens in the space. And then after the show is over, there's also opportunities for live entertainment, and the space can be used for other events during the day and things like that. So it's sort of an overall business plan. I think ticket sales are only a portion of it, less than 40% of what the business is. So it's basically a destination. You can go to have dinner before the show. You can see the show and have drinks after and spend some time there. And it's called HotBed because we're trying to make it a hotbed of creativity, a hotbed of culinary art.
Love it. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And so do you operate all of the ancillary businesses associated with the actual entertainment that you're doing, like the restaurant or whatever else might be around it or within it? Or do you lease those out to other businesses?
No, we'll be operating the entire business.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how would you?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, how would you categorize this Fallen Saints show? Is it just a musical variety show, or is it similar to the Blue Man Group in terms of its? Well, I don't even know what the word is other than originality.
Well, the goal of the show is to sort of separate. If you go to a concert, you see there's a band on stage, and you sit in a seat, and there's this big separation. You're separated by the PA, and the performers are up on a platform, and you are passively sit and enjoy what they're doing up there. And for being a musician, like the best part of when you deliver the best response, it's when people are really close. And almost like when you see a band for the first time at a tiny club before they get big, there's an excitement, and it's much more of an intimate experience. So that's kind of the theme for what this show is. We just set up a format where you walk around in different rooms and you have different experiences with music. You can, like I said, you can sit on the piano stool with the piano player. There's one room that's only big enough for 8 to 10 people, and a performer appears in there, and that's like the goosebump moment when someone's performing right in front of you, and you can see it and see the sweat and feel the emotion that close. And there's different sized rooms and different kinds of music, but really it's the music and the musicians are what deliver the excitement, and we just set the stage for it.
Yeah, it reminds me of that movie, the Fabulous Baker Boys with Michelle Pfeiffer. You remember that one?
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I like the idea behind that. That's a really great concept. All right, so and as far as the fund, do you have a idea about how much money you want to raise for this fund, or what you're going to need to meet all your goals?
Yeah, right now with the so we have 5 properties, as I mentioned, that are either in our possession, under contract, or in the contractual process. Right now, we're looking to raise $63 million. That will purchase the real estate, that will do the improvements and the historic preservation and the restoration, getting to that adaptive reuse, which will load in the theater, or the immersive theater, the music show, and load in the operating business. So that kind of takes it all from the real estate to the first note played on stage, if you will. And so we're really excited about that and the opportunity and the impact that'll have in each of these communities.
Awesome,
are you looking
great.
to raise your funds strictly through the Opportunity Zone program and capital gains and the like, or are you looking for alternative sources of income like crowdfunding or tokenization, blockchain, anything like that?
Well, right now we're looking to raise it all through the Opportunity Zone program with capital gains. We have other scenarios that we might explore as we get down the road, but right now we're looking to fund it all through equity inside of the fund.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Todd or Seth, let's say I'm an investor, or I got a heavy capital gains exposure, and I want to get more information on your fund, or get moving on this process. How do they reach you? What's the best way somebody can go and get more information on that? Do you have a website, phone, et cetera? What's the best way?
You can email us at info@hotbedmusichall.com.
We're waiting also.
Yeah, hotbedmusichall.com.
Okay. Great, great. And then I would imagine you have some kind of a prospectus or some kind of a document that people can read and get more information on it as well?
Absolutely. Send us a note and we can send out our information packet. There's a little video that comes with it. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, listen, Vicki, I'm sure you'll agree with me. I feel like we're talking to some game changers here, and I'm really, really happy you guys took the time out to be on the podcast. Really, really appreciate that because I know how busy you are.
This is one of our I shouldn't say one of our better podcasts because they're all fabulous, but this podcast was so interesting, and as I said before, and I will say it again, I commend you on your creativity in actually using the Opportunity Zone program for what it was intended for actually having an impact on the communities where your projects are located, and you really are changing the world for the better, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, and we appreciate you having us on, and we appreciate the kind words. We hope to report back here in a year or 2, 3, and show the actual impact that we have. So
I hope so, baby. I hope you guys come on the podcast before that, as we
we want to talk to you again maybe next month.
Okay, we're available to have any and all conversations that continue to move this forward.
This is great. All right, everyone out there, you've been listening to the Mappable USA podcast. We had Todd Perlmutter and Seth Dunlap from the Omni Impact Opportunity Zone Funds. And if you're coming in right now, catch the archive on this one and just sit back, have a cup of coffee. You really enjoy this one specifically. So anyway, MappableUSA.com, that's our website. Go there. You'll see all our syndication sources. You can scroll down and pick the one you like best so you never miss another show. There's a tab at the top of the site for guests. If you want to be a guest on the show, like Seth and Todd were today, then we'd love to have you on. We'll see if I get you on the show as well. So thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you for our guests for showing up. Thank you for Vicki for co-hosting this with me. And thank you, everyone out there. We'll bring you out another Mappable USA podcast next week. Have a great week, everyone.